The chamber was silent, yet the silence felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Bright crystal flames burned on tall black pillars, casting cold light across the alien council hall. Strange symbols floated in the air, glowing red. Dozens of alien leaders sat in a half-circle, their long eyes fixed on the human who stood alone in chains. His name was Ethan Ward. A soldier, yes, but here he was only a prisoner. His heart pounded as he looked at them, trying not to show fear. His uniform was torn, his arms bruised, but his spirit still burned. One alien counselor rose. Her voice was sharp like steel. "Human," she said, "your kind crossed our borders. You fought our guards. For this crime you must die." The aliens hissed in agreement, a sound like snakes ready to strike. Ethan clenched his fists. He wanted to speak, to argue, but what could he say? He was one man against an entire world. Then it happened. A figure moved from the shadows. She stepped into the circle with calm steps, her silver robe shining. She was alien too, but different. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes dark and deep, and her voice soft yet firm. "I claim him," she said. The council exploded in shock. Some shouted, some laughed, others gasped. Ethan stared at her, not understanding. Her name was Lyra, daughter of a powerful clan. She raised her hand and touched the mark on her chest, a sign of bonding. "This human is mine," she declared. "By ancient law, I choose him as my bondmate." The hall roared with anger. One counselor slammed his staff. "Impossible. A human cannot be bondmate. He is not of our blood." But Lyra did not step back. Her voice grew sharper. "Law is law. I have chosen. If you deny me, you deny our traditions." Ethan's mind spun. Bondmate, what does that even mean? He looked at her in disbelief, but her expression was serious. Her dark eyes locked with his, full of strange strength, and in that moment he understood. She was saving his life. The council argued loudly. Some demanded execution, others said the law must stand. Finally, the eldest among them spoke, his voice slow and heavy. "Lyra of the Vera clan, your claim saves this human for now. But know this, the bond is not enough. The rest of your sisters must agree. Without their acceptance, the human is nothing. And when he is nothing, he dies." The chains fell from Ethan's wrists. Guards shoved him forward, forcing him to stand beside Lyra. The aliens watched, their eyes glowing with judgment. Ethan whispered out of the side of his mouth, Why did you do this?" Lyra didn't look at him. Her jaw was tight. "Because," she said softly, "you were not meant to die here. But the price will be high." Before Ethan could ask more, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hall. Two new figures entered. They were women too, Lyra's sisters. The first was tall, with black hair like liquid metal and sharp silver armor. Her eyes glared at Ethan as if he was already dead. The second was smaller, younger, with a quiet gaze, but her silence felt even more dangerous. They walked until they stood beside Lyra, facing Ethan with cold expressions. The armored sister spoke first. "So this is the human you risk everything for?" Her voice cut like a knife. "Pathetic, weak, he will bring shame to our clan." The younger sister tilted her head. "Strange," she murmured. "I feel something, but not enough." "Not yet." The council fell silent, watching. Tension grew in the air, heavy and sharp. Ethan felt like the floor might fall away beneath him. The eldest counselor's voice rang out. "Then it is decided. The human lives, only if the sisters accept him. He must prove himself worthy of all, or he will perish." Ethan's throat felt dry. Prove himself? To aliens who wanted him dead? What did that even mean? The armored sister stepped closer, her face inches from his. "You want to live, human?" she hissed. "Then you must survive us. Fail once and I will tear you apart with my own hands." The younger one only whispered, "Be careful, stranger." "Our clan is not kind." Ethan felt the weight of their eyes. Around him the chamber darkened, the crystal flames dimming. He realized he was no longer a prisoner of war. He was a prisoner of something far more dangerous. An alien family bound by honor, power, and secrets he could not yet understand. Lyra touched his arm lightly, guiding him away from the council. Her hand was cool, her voice almost a whisper. "You asked why I saved you," she said. "The answer is simple. I saw something in you the others do not, something rare, but you must stay alive long enough to show it." Ethan nodded slowly, though fear gnawed at his stomach. He had survived battles before, but this was different. Here, one wrong word, one wrong step, could mean his death. As the council doors closed behind them, the whispers of the aliens followed. Rumors, laughter, threats, the echo of a world watching him, waiting for him to fail. And in that silence, Ethan made a promise to himself. He would not break. He would not bow. Whatever these alien sisters demanded, whatever trials came, he would face them all. But deep inside, a darker question remained. What happens if he wins? The alien sky was red as fire when Ethan stepped outside the council hall. Strange towers reached high, their walls alive with glowing veins of light. The air itself felt heavy, carrying a scent of metal and storm. Beside him, Lyra walked with steady steps, her hand still resting lightly on his arm, as if she feared someone might steal him away. Behind them followed her two sisters, their eyes sharp, their silence louder than thunder. The taller sister, armored in silver plates, finally spoke. "My name is Saris," she said coldly. "I am the blade of this clan. I see no reason to let a human live." The younger one tilted her head, eyes glowing faintly. "And I am Nira," she whispered. "I hear the voices of the old blood. They do not trust you either, stranger." Ethan stopped walking. He felt their gaze cut through him like knives. "Then why not kill me now?" he asked, his voice low. Saris's lips curved into a cruel smile. "Because death is too easy. If you want to stay, you must prove yourself." She pointed toward a dark path leading deeper into the alien city. "Come. Tonight your trial begins." The path twisted like a serpent, lined with glowing stone statues, alien warriors carved in poses of triumph. Ethan followed, his every step echoing. Lyra stayed at his side, silent, while her sisters led the way. Finally, they reached a great open courtyard. Strange weapons hung from the walls, blades shaped like stars, spears glowing with energy. At the center stood a circle marked with fire. "This," Saris declared, "is where you will show us what you are. You fight, you endure, or you fall." Ethan stared at the circle. "You want me to fight? Against who?" Nira stepped forward, her quiet smile eerie. "Against us," the words hit him like ice. Fight them? They were taller, stronger, faster. He was only human. Saris drew her blade, a long silver weapon humming with deadly light. "Do not worry," she said mockingly. "I will not kill you, unless you are too weak to stop me." Lyra placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Remember, they do not seek your death," she whispered. "They seek your worth. Show them who you are." Ethan took a deep breath, his fists clenched. He had no blade, no shield, nothing but his will. But maybe that was enough. The trial began. Saris struck first, her blade flashing like lightning. Ethan barely rolled aside, the ground burning where the weapon struck. He scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding. She attacked again, faster this time, her movements sharp and perfect. Ethan ducked, stumbled, then grabbed a loose piece of stone from the ground. He raised it like a club. The aliens laughed from the shadows, watching. To them, it was a pathetic sight. A human facing a warrior with nothing but a rock. But Ethan's eyes burned with stubborn fire. Saris swung, but Ethan moved closer instead of back. He let the blade scrape his arm, blood dripping, and in that moment he slammed the stone against her wrist. The shock made her drop the weapon. The crowd gasped. Ethan kicked the blade away, panting, pain shooting through his arm. "Not so easy," he muttered. For the first time, Saris's cold smile faded. Her eyes narrowed. "Interesting," she said. "Perhaps you are not only prey." Nira then stepped forward, silent as a shadow. She did not draw a blade. Instead, she raised her hand, and strange glowing mist swirled around Ethan's head. His vision blurred, his thoughts twisting. He heard whispers, voices not his own. "You do not belong here," the whispers said. "You will die alone. You are nothing." Ethan staggered, his knees weak. He saw memories, his home, his family, his failures. The weight of it crushed him. But then he heard another voice, Lyra's voice, calm and strong. "Show them who you are." Gritting his teeth, Ethan forced himself to move. He grabbed his bleeding arm and focused on the pain, grounding himself in reality. The whispers faded. Nira's eyes widened in surprise. "You resist." "No one resists me," she whispered. Ethan glared at her. "I've been fighting voices all my life," he said. "Yours are nothing new." The courtyard fell silent. The sisters studied him, their cold expressions shifting. For the first time, respect flickered in their eyes. The trial ended. Saris sheathed her blade, her lips pressed in a tight line. "You are reckless," she admitted. But you are not weak. Nira tilted her head, her quiet smile returning. The old blood is still unsure. But I'm curious. Lyra stepped between them, her voice firm. Then it is decided. He may stay, but Saris raised a hand. Not yet. He passed tonight. But tomorrow will bring another test. And if he fails, I will end him myself. Her words echoed like thunder. Ethan met her gaze, his heart still burning from the fight. I'll be ready, he said simply. As the sisters left the courtyard, Lyra lingered by Ethan's side. She touched his wounded arm, her eyes softer than before. You risked much tonight, she whispered. You bled, yet you stood. Ethan gave a tired smile. Where I come from, standing is all we know. The night wind howled across the alien city, carrying with it the promise of more trials, more danger. Ethan knew this was only the beginning, and somewhere in the shadows, unseen eyes watched him plotting his next fall. The alien city came alive that night. Towers glowed with red and gold fire, drums echoed through the streets, and long banners of silk rippled in the hot wind. Ethan had seen military parades before, but this was different. This was a celebration and a trap. The Feast of Clans was no ordinary meal. It was an ancient gathering where warriors tested outsiders with food, drink, and song. Failure meant humiliation. Humiliation meant death. Ethan walked beside Lyra, his heart tight with unease. Her two sisters, Saris and Nira, followed close behind, their eyes watching him like hawks. All around, alien nobles gathered in circles, their sharp faces glowing in the firelight. At the center stood a long black table carved from stone, heavy with dishes that shimmered strangely under the light. Some food steamed, others pulsed faintly as if alive. Ethan's stomach turned, a counselor raised his voice. Tonight the human must prove he can share in our blood bond feast. If he cannot eat as we eat, if he cannot drink as we drink, then he is no bondmate. He is only prey. The crowd hissed in agreement. Ethan forced a calm breath. He had faced bullets and fire, but never this. He sat at the table, Lyra on his right, her sisters on his left. The first dish was placed before him. It looked like a bowl of glowing fruit, but when he touched one, it twitched. The fruit had eyes. Saris smirked. Eat or admit your weakness. Ethan clenched his jaw. He thought of home, of survival training. If it moves you, kill it before it kills you. He picked up the twitching fruit, bit into it, and swallowed. The taste was sharp and bitter, but he didn't flinch. The aliens murmured. Some nodded. Others frowned. The second dish came. Dark liquid in silver cups. The scent was sharp, burning his nose. Nira leaned close, whispering softly. Careful, stranger. This is no drink, it is memory. Drink too deep and your mind may never return. Ethan lifted the cup. His reflection swam in the black surface, then shifted. His reflection was not his face at all, but the face of an alien warrior screaming in battle. He drank. Fire ran through his veins. Images filled his head. Battles, deaths, voices he did not know. He gripped the table until his knuckles turned white. The room spun, but he forced himself to stay upright. When he set the cup down, sweat ran down his face, but his eyes burned with defiance. I'm still here, he said through gritted teeth. The nobles whispered louder now. Some looked impressed. Others looked angry. The third dish arrived. This time Ethan's breath caught. On the plate was something simple. A piece of bread, plain and soft. Too normal, too safe. Lyra's hand tightened on his arm. Don't, she whispered. This is the true test, Ethan frowned. Bread? Saris leaned closer, her voice like ice. Yes, bread, but not what you think. One bite will bind you to us forever. Refuse it and you dishonor my sister's claim. The air grew heavy. All eyes burned into him. Eat and he was theirs. Refuse and he was nothing. Ethan looked at the bread. His mind raced. Is this how they trap me? Force me to bind myself forever to them? He thought of Lyra, of the strange bond she had already declared. He thought of the council's warning. The sisters must accept you or you die. Slowly he lifted the bread. His hand shook. He looked at Lyra. Her eyes were steady but full of warning. Then he broke the bread in half. The hall gasped. Ethan placed one half in front of Lyra. If I eat, she eats too. We share it, or I share nothing. For a heartbeat, silence crushed the hall. Then whispers spread like wildfire. Some shouted in anger, others in awe. No outsider had ever dared twist the ritual before. Lyra looked at the bread, then at Ethan. Slowly, she took the half he offered and raised it to her lips. Together they ate. The fire circle flared bright. The old law recognized the act. They were bound. Not just Ethan to the sisters, but Ethan and Lyra together against the weight of tradition. Sierra slammed her fist on the table. "You dare twist our law, human?" But the younger sister, Nira, tilted her head, her voice quiet and strange. No, he did not twist it. He reshaped it. The bond accepts him. The counselors shouted in chaos, some demanding his death, others demanding his honor. Suddenly, the great doors of the feast hall burst open. An armored messenger stumbled in, his face pale. "Clans of Vera," he cried. "A rival house approaches. They demand the human for themselves." The feast fell silent. All eyes turned to Ethan. Cirrus rose, her blade already in her hand. "Then let them come. Let them try to take him. And let us see if this human is worth the blood he has claimed." Ethan's heart thundered. Tonight was not just about survival anymore. Tonight was the spark of something greater, something dangerous. And he knew, deep inside, the real battle had not yet begun. The night after the feast, the city shook with drums of war. Red banners hung from the towers, their symbols glowing in the smoke-filled air. Ethan stood at the balcony of Lyra's house, staring at the horizon. Strange ships moved in the distance, their black sails like wings of death. The rival clan had come. Inside, voices rose in anger. Lyra, Saris, and Nira argued with their clan elders. Ethan could hear every word through the open doors. "They demand the human," one elder hissed. "Give him up and avoid war." "No," Lyra snapped. "He is mine by law. He has proven himself." "He is nothing but flesh," Saris said coldly. "And yet, I will not see him stolen." Nira's voice floated soft and eerie. "The old blood stirs. It whispers of fire. If the human is taken, our line may break." Ethan clenched his fists. His life was now a weapon in the hands of others. He had no control unless he made his own. The great horn sounded. The rival clan had arrived, the courtyard filled with warriors. They wore black armor, sharp and jagged, their helmets shaped like beasts. Their leader stepped forward, tall and proud, his voice echoing like thunder. "I am Vorath, son of the Krail clan," he declared. "The human belongs to us. By right of challenge, we demand him. If you refuse, we bring war to your gates," the crowd roared. Weapons clashed against shields. The air burned with tension. Lyra stood before them, her robe shining silver. "You will not take him. He is bound to me." Vorath laughed, a cruel sound. "Bound? Then let him fight for you. Let him prove himself in the ring of honor. If he wins, he stays. If he loses, he is ours." All eyes turned to Ethan, his chest tightened. Fight against who? Against these towering aliens with their deadly strength? He glanced at Lyra. Her eyes were steady, but her hand trembled slightly at her side. Ethan stepped forward, his voice steady. "I accept." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The human had spoken for himself. The ring of honor was drawn in fire once more. The rival clan chose their champion, a massive warrior with black armor and a weapon like a burning axe. His name was Kale, a fighter known for crushing enemies with one strike. Ethan stood across from him with no armor, no blade. Only his will. The horn sounded. Kale charged, his axe crashing down like a falling star. Ethan rolled aside, the ground splitting where the weapon struck. He scrambled to his feet, breathing hard. He had to be fast. He had to think. Kale swung again. Ethan dodged, but the axe grazed his shoulder, fire burning into his skin. Pain seared him, but he stayed standing. The aliens jeered, shouting for Kale to end it quickly, but Ethan's eyes narrowed. He had survived worse. He remembered his training. Use the enemy's weight, not your own. When Kale charged again, Ethan didn't run. Instead, he moved in close. The axe missed by inches, and Ethan slammed his elbow into Kale's throat. The alien staggered, surprised. The crowd gasped. Kale roared in fury, swinging wildly. Ethan ducked low, grabbed a handful of sand from the ground, and threw it into Kale's eyes. The warrior stumbled, blinded for a moment. Ethan didn't waste the chance. He kicked Kale's knee with all his strength. There was a crack, and Kale dropped to one side. Ethan leapt on him, grabbing the handle of the axe. He swung it down, but stopped just before the blade touched Kale's throat. The fire circle flared. Silence fell. Ethan dropped the weapon and stepped back, breathing hard. "I don't need to kill to win," he said. The courtyard erupted in chaos. Some shouted in rage, others in awe. Lyra's eyes shone with pride, but Saris's face was unreadable. Vorath stepped forward, his voice hard. You win, but you shame him. You shame us. Ethan stood tall despite the blood on his arm. No, I showed mercy. Maybe that's something your clan has forgotten. The words cut deeper than any blade. The rival clan withdrew, their honor wounded. But as they left, Vorath turned, his eyes burning with hatred. This is not over, human. Next time we take more than your blood. The threat lingered in the air long after they were gone. That night, in the quiet of Lyra's chambers, Ethan sat with his arm bandaged. The pain was sharp, but his mind sharper. You could have killed him, Saris said coldly. She stood in the shadows, her arms crossed. Why didn't you? Ethan looked at her, his eyes tired but steady. Because killing is easy. Living with mercy is harder. And harder things mean more. For a moment, silence. Then Saris's lips curved, not into a smile, but something close. Respect. Nira stepped close, her strange eyes glowing faintly. The whispers of the old blood are louder now, she murmured. They speak your name. Ethan felt the weight of their gaze. He was no longer just a prisoner. He was something else now, something dangerous even to them. But deep inside he wondered, had he just united them? Or made himself the spark of their destruction? The city was quiet after the challenge, but it was not peace. Smoke still rose from the torches, and whispers of Ethan's victory spread through the alien streets like fire through dry grass. Some called him brave. Others called him dangerous. Inside Lyra's home, the sisters spoke in hushed voices. Ethan sat alone in the corner, his wounded arm still aching. He tried to rest, but his instincts screamed. Something was wrong. That night, while the moons crossed the red sky, shadows moved in the hall. A soft hand touched his shoulder, waking him. Come, a voice whispered. Ethan blinked. It was Saris, her silver armor dark in the moonlight. She motioned for silence and led him through the stone corridors. Her steps were careful, quiet. Too quiet. They walked until they reached the outer walls where the city lights faded into black wilderness. The air was sharp with cold. Ethan stopped. Why bring me here? He asked. Saris turned, her eyes like blades. Because you don't belong. You are not bondmate, not warrior, not kin. You are a crack in our walls. And cracks bring ruin. Ethan tensed. You saved me in the council. You fought beside me in the ring. Her voice grew harder. I saved my sister's honor, not you. And tonight I will end this mistake. From the shadows, warriors appeared, masked, armed with spears that hummed with power. Ethan's heart dropped. It was an ambush. Saris stepped closer, whispering so only he could hear. I will hand you to the rival clan before dawn. Better they kill you than you destroy us from within. Ethan's fists clenched. He wanted to fight, but there were too many. His mind raced. Think. Survive. As the warriors surrounded him, Nira's voice suddenly drifted through the dark like wind through broken glass. Stop. She stepped from the shadows, her eyes glowing faint. You act without the bond of truth, Saris. The old blood will curse you. Saris's jaw tightened. Stay out of this, little sister. But Nira's gaze fell on Ethan. The whispers told me danger would come from within. I thought it meant him, but now, I see it as you. The warriors hesitated. They obeyed Saris, but they feared Nira's strange gift. Ethan seized the moment. He grabbed a loose stone from the wall and hurled it at a torch, plunging part of the area into shadow. Then he ran, straight toward the gap between two warriors, spears slashed, grazing his back. He rolled, grabbed one weapon, and yanked it free. Now he had something to fight with. The courtyard exploded into chaos. Warriors lunged. Ethan swung wildly, not with skill but with desperation. His spear cracked against armor, sparks flying. Saris roared, drawing her blade. Enough! End him! But Nira raised her hands. A wave of strange light burst out, freezing the warriors in their tracks. Their eyes turned blank, trapped in illusions only they could see. Ethan stumbled, gasping, looking at her in shock. You saved me? Nira's face was unreadable. Not for you. For the truth. You must live, or the prophecy breaks. Saris lunged forward, blade raised, but Ethan blocked with the stolen spear. The impact shook his arms. For a moment their eyes met, hers blazing with fury, his with raw defiance. You think you can decide my fate? He growled. No. I decide my own. He shoved her back and broke free into the night. Ethan ran through the alien streets, his breath sharp in the cold air. Behind him alarms rose, horns blaring. He darted into alleys, past glowing towers, his mind racing. Saris betrayed me. Nira saved me, Lyra. Does she know? Or is she part of this too? Finally, he collapsed against a stone wall, blood dripping from his shoulder. He couldn't run forever. He had to understand why they wanted him alive or dead. And then he remembered the whispers from the feast. The prophecy. Nira had said his name echoed in the old blood. What did it mean? At dawn, the council hall shook with fury. Lyra demanded answers. Where is he? Where is the human? Saris stood silent, her face unreadable. She did not admit the betrayal nor the failed ambush. Nira spoke softly, her words a blade wrapped in silk. He ran because one of us pushed him away. He lives because destiny refused to let him die. The council erupted. Some demanded Ethan's capture. Others demanded war against the rival clan before he could fall into their hands. Lyra's eyes burned with determination. Find him. Protect him. For if he dies, everything we know will burn. Far beyond the city, Ethan stumbled into the wilderness. Jagged cliffs rose, and strange red trees twisted toward the sky. He moved through shadows, hiding from patrols, clutching the stolen spear like a lifeline. Exhaustion pulled at him, but his mind stayed sharp. He was no longer just fighting for survival. He was caught in something bigger: laws, bloodlines, prophecies. And deep inside, one truth grew clearer with every step. The aliens feared him. Not because he was weak, but because he was something new. That night, as he rested in the wild, a shape appeared in the dark. A familiar figure, Lyra. She approached slowly, her eyes full of pain. Ethan, she whispered, I came alone. But you must listen. The rival clan gathers their fleet. They mean to take you by force. And if they succeed, the war will begin. Ethan stared at her, his spear still in hand. His voice was low, heavy. Then I guess it's time to stop running. The sky burned with red fire as the rival fleet descended. Black warships blotted out the stars, their engines rumbling like thunder. The alien city of Vera stood ready, its towers lined with glowing cannons and its warriors in silver ranks. On the walls, Ethan stood among them. His human frame looked small compared to the towering soldiers, but his eyes burned with the same fire. Beside him, Lyra adjusted her spear, her face set in grim focus. Saris tightened her armor, her blade gleaming with deadly light. Nira stood silent, her eyes glowing faintly, hearing whispers no one else could. The horns of war echoed. Across the field, the rival clan gathered in black armor, their banners whipping in the wind. Their leader, Vorath, raised his voice so all could hear. Give us the human. Surrender him and we leave your city standing. Refuse and we take both him and your bloodline by force. The warriors of Vera roared in defiance. Ethan's fists tightened on the stone wall. His mind raced. They're here for me. If I stay, thousands may die. If I go, I'm theirs forever. But before he could speak, Saris stepped forward. You will not touch him, she shouted. He has proven his worth. He stands with us. The rival clan laughed. Their war drums thundered, and then battle began. The first wave of black-armored soldiers charged, their spears glowing. Energy bolts lit the sky, smashing into the walls. The ground shook with each impact. Ethan ducked as a blast scorched the stone near his head. He grabbed a fallen shield, its alien metal humming in his hands. Stay behind me, Lyra shouted, slashing at an enemy that leapt onto the wall. But Ethan didn't stay back. He surged forward, shoving the shield into the enemy's chest. The warrior stumbled, giving Lyra a chance to strike. Together they brought him down. More came. Too many. Saris cut through them like a storm, her blade flashing silver. Nira raised her hands, strange light spilling out, weaving illusions that made enemies falter and strike at shadows. Still, the rival clan pressed harder. They had numbers. They had fury. Ethan's mind worked fast. He saw their pattern, how they attacked in waves, always toward the strongest defenders. But the flanks, the sides of the wall, were weaker. That was their blind spot. He shouted over the roar of battle. They're trying to break you in the center. Shift forces left, push them where they're weakest. The alien captains hesitated. Why listen to a human? But Lyra's voice cut sharp. Do it, trust him. The soldiers obeyed. The formation shifted. And just as Ethan predicted, the rival clan stumbled into the trap. Their wave was broken. For a moment, the defenders cheered. But then the sky split open. A massive black ship descended, larger than any tower, its cannons glowing with death. Vorath himself stood at the front, his eyes fixed on Ethan. "This ends now," he roared. The ship fired. The wall exploded. Ethan and the sisters were thrown into the air. Dust and fire swallowed everything. Ethan coughed, pulling himself from the rubble. Blood ran down his face, but he forced himself to stand. Around him, chaos raged. The defenders were broken, scattered. Vorath leapt from his ship, landing in the ruins with a blade of black fire. His soldiers cheered as he pointed it at Ethan. "The human dies tonight." Ethan gripped the alien shield tighter. His legs shook, but his eyes blazed. "No, not tonight," Vorath charged. Their blades clashed, fire against steel, strength against will. Ethan barely held, each strike sending pain up his arm, but he refused to fall. Lyra appeared at his side, blocking another blow. Saris struck from behind, forcing Vorath back. Nira's voice rose, whispering strange words that echoed like thunder. Together they pushed him into the heart of the ruined wall. Vorath snarled, "You are nothing. A fragile creature playing at war." Ethan spat blood, his voice steady. "Fragile doesn't mean weak. It means we fight harder." With a sudden move, he used the shield not to block, but to trap Vorath's blade. Twisting with all his strength, he wrenched it free and slammed the shield into the alien's face. Vorath staggered. The sisters struck together. Lyra's spear, Saris's blade, Nira's light. The rival leader crashed to the ground, roaring in pain. The rival soldiers froze, stunned. Their leader had fallen. Ethan raised the shield, his voice echoing over the battlefield. "You came for me. You thought I was prey. But tonight, you see, I am not yours. I am not weak. I am human. And I fight for those who stand with me." The defenders roared. The rival clan, broken in spirit, began to retreat. By dawn, the battlefield was silent. The city of Vera still stood, though scarred. The sisters gathered with Ethan among the ruins. Saris looked at him, her voice grudging. "You fought like one of us, perhaps." "Stronger." Nira's gaze was distant, her whisper soft. "The old blood screams now. It says his story is not finished." Lyra touched Ethan's shoulder, her eyes full of both pride and fear. "You saved us, but the council will not see it that way. They will fear you even more, and their fear may be deadlier than war." Ethan stared at the rising sun, his chest heavy. He had won the battle, but victory came with a new shadow. The greatest enemy was not outside the walls. It was waiting inside. The battlefield still smoked when the horns of the council called. The war was won, but victory did not feel like triumph. Ethan walked through the ruined streets, every step heavy, the alien shield still strapped to his arm. The people of Vera stared at him. Some bowed their heads in respect. Others spat at the ground as he passed. To them, he was both savior and curse. At the great council hall, the air was colder than stone. The elders sat high on their thrones, their robes shining with sacred symbols. Lyra, Saris, and Nira stood beside Ethan, their faces hard with defiance. The eldest counselor's voice boomed. "You saved this city. You struck down Vorath, but you are not one of us. You are a danger. For this we will end you." The chamber filled with voices. Some shouted for his death, others demanded his exile. Only a few whispered for mercy. Ethan's jaw tightened. He wanted to shout, to fight, but his voice caught in his chest. He looked at Lyra. She met his gaze and stepped forward. "No," she said firmly. "If you end him, you end us as well. I claimed him by the bond. I do not stand alone. My sisters stand with me." Saris raised her blade, placing it across Ethan's chest in a gesture of protection. "His strength is mine. He fought beside me, and I will not see him cut down like a dog." Nira's eyes glowed faintly as she whispered, her voice echoing strange and otherworldly. "The old blood accepts him. To kill him is to tear our prophecy apart. He is meant to walk with us, not fall beneath us." The council chamber shook with outrage. "Impossible," one elder cried. One sister's bond was mistake enough. But all three, never. But the sisters did not step back. Their voices rose together. "He is ours." The silence that followed was suffocating. The elders stared down, their eyes burning with fury. Ethan's heart pounded. He had not asked for this. He had not asked for bonds, for prophecy, for war. But here he stood, and here they chose him. Finally, the eldest elder raised his staff. "Then let it be known. You defy the council. You defy the old order. If you keep him, you must face exile. You will never sit among us again." The words struck like thunder. Gasps echoed across the chamber. Exile meant shame. loss, a life beyond the walls of honor. Lyra lifted her chin, her voice steady. Then so be it. Sarah slammed her blade against the floor. So be it, Nira whispered, her voice almost like a song. So be it. The council roared in anger, but the choice was made. The sisters had broken the order. Ethan was theirs, and they would stand against the world for him. That night, the city burned with whispers. Some called the sisters traitors, others called them visionaries. The rival clan's fleet had fled, but war still loomed on the horizon. Ethan stood with the sisters on a high tower looking out at the stars. The scars of battle glowed in the distance and the wind carried the weight of change. You should have left me, he said quietly. If you had, none of this would fall on you. Lyra touched his arm. We do not regret. You are more than bondmate. You are proof that strength comes in many forms. Saris gave a rare smirk. You are reckless, human, foolish. But I would fight beside you again. Nira tilted her head, her strange eyes glowing brighter than the stars. The whispers are silent now, they wait. But I hear one thing clearly. Your story is not finished. Ethan stared at them, his chest tight. He had come here as a prisoner, a man marked for death. Now he stood bound to 3 sisters, defying a council, carrying a destiny he didn't understand. For the first time, he didn't feel like prey. He felt chosen. As the moons rose high, Ethan spoke softly, almost to himself. Maybe our bond isn't enough. Maybe the council will never accept me. Maybe more war will come. But I know this, if I stand with you, I will never stand alone. The sisters looked at him, their silence stronger than words. And in that moment, human and alien, exile and prophecy. They were one. The stars stretched endless above them, filled with unknown worlds and unseen battles. The future was uncertain, but one truth shone brighter than fear. The bond they forged tonight would echo beyond worlds.